Good morning, all. I hope you are all safe at your home. In last class, we learned some method to separate components of mixture. Now let us use those techniques to separate mixture of one or more than two components. What were the two separation methods that we used to separate given mixtures of pencil shaving, salt, and dal? Why? We used a hand picking and sieving method to separate the components because the components were of different size and quantities. So to choose the correct separation method for any given mixture, we have to consider the properties of component in the mixture. So let us see the properties that are to be considered. First is type of mixture, size, weight and quantity of different components, and solubility of different components. Using the example of mixture we separated in our previous activity, let us understand steps followed in choosing the correct separation method. First, mixture of shaving pencil shaving, salt and dal is a solid mixture. Two or more solid mixed together or solid liquid one. It's solid mixture. Then we can compare the particle size or comparative weight of the different components. So what one did you consider for the mixture of pencil shaving, salt and dal? Why? Size of particles or weight of particles? Size of particles. We consider the size of particles as the component of a mixture of different sizes. Based on particle size, which method do you choose to separate the pencil swing? If the component is big enough to be picked, use hand picking. If the component is too much, has fine particles, use sieving. If the component is lighter than other component, use winnowing. If the component is stuck to another component, use threshing. So in this method we will use hand picking based on particle size. We choose picking method to separate the pencil shaving from the mixture. Method 1, separating the pencil shaving mixture. Now, based on the particle size, which method did you use to separate salt from dal? Same all this process, same method are asked. From this which you will be do to separate salt and dal, that is sieving. Based on the particle size and quantity, we choose sieving method to separate the salt from dal. Sieving method, this separates the salt from the dal. Now example, let us consider another example of mixture of pencil shaving, water and sand. This is solid liquid mixture. Let us see the steps followed to choose the correct separation method for this type of mixture. What kind of solid are there in the mixture? Both soluble, insoluble, one soluble and other insoluble. So both soluble, both the solids are soluble in water. So which method will you choose to separate the sand from the mixture? Why? If all solids are soluble, check whether solid is heavier or lighter than water. First separate the heavier solid by sedimentation and decantation, then separate the lighter solid by filter. If one is soluble and other is soluble, first separate the insoluble substance by sedimentation or filtration, then separate the soluble solid by evaporation. So here is first step, we can separate sand from mixture using sedimentation and decantation, as sand is heavier than pencil sheaves. So sedimentation and decantation, this will separate sand from water. Now which method will you choose to separate pencil shaving from water? Then separate the lighter solid from filtration. We can use pencil shaving from a mixture using the filtration method as the pencil shaving are lighter. So method 2 is filtration. This will separate the pencil shaving from water. Now that we have learned the steps to choose the correct method for separating a mixture, let us answer few questions independently. First, Sabah separated a mixture of onions, potato, and tomatoes by picking them with her hand. Kenshi used same method to separate a sugar and salt mixture. Give reason for your answer and how she decide which method to use. Okay, she cannot use this method to separate sugar and salt because sugar and salt are too much in quantity to be picked. Moreover, since the size of sugar and salt are particles is almost similar, it is difficult to separate them. So, how should she decide which method to use? She should check what type of mixture it is, then compare the size of components of mixture and then solubility. So fill the following chart by writing the steps to separate the mixture of sand and pencil shaving on water. First method is sedimentation, that will make the sand settle down. Decantation, separation of sand from the mixture. And third, filtration, pencil shaving from water. Anu wants to separate the components of a bhel, a dish she made by mixing puffed rice, groundnut, green chilies, and moong dal. Write the method she can use and sequence that she should follow. First, separates the groundnut and green chilies by hand picking. Second, separate puffed rice by blowing air on the mixture. We have studied that mixtures can be separated into their components by different methods depending on the properties of components. In class 9th, you will be studying the changes in properties of matter. Let us recall what we know about physical changes. Physical changes. In a game, you need to describe the following material to your friend whose eyes are closed. How will you describe the given four objects? If you want to describe cotton ball, you can say it is solid, it is white and soft. For hot water, it is liquid, it is hot and transparent. For metal noodle, it is solid, shiny and smooth. And blue ink, it is liquid and blue in color. So, what you are describing this material are example of physical properties of material. Physical properties of cotton ball is solid, white and soft. Of hot water is liquid, hot and transparent. A physical property is a quantity of or a characteristics of substance. Physical properties are the characteristics of an object that can be observed or measured without changing its chemical composition. This includes shape, color, size, state, weight, and temperature. A physical change involves a change in physical property of material. If you leave ice at room temperature, it will melt. What are the chances that takes place in this? What are the changes that takes place in this process? The state of ice changes from solid to liquid, shape changes, temperature changes. In this example, there are changes in physical properties of object or substance. No new substance was formed, through the object may look different. Such changes are called physical changes. Freezing of milk is another example of physical changes. In a chemical change, new substances are formed. If we light a matchstick, it is physical change or chemical change? It is chemical change because there was a ash, light, and smell of something burning after lighting the matchstick. So, in a chemical change, new substances are formed. Let us learn more about chemical change. When we burn a matchstick, what changes are observed? A new chemical in the match had burned and turned to ash. A new substance, ashes form, light and smell are emitted. These are the characteristics of chemical change. Let us look at the few chemical changes and see what changes is a chemical change. Changes that lead to formation of new substance are called chemical change. The new substance that the new substance has a new chemical identity. which is different from original substance that underwent a change. Burning of magnesium ribbon produced the white ash of a magnesium oxide. The curdling of milk produced cheese. Process like burning, cooking, firing, frying changes the chemical composition of a substance and form a new substance. For example, when we burn magnesium strip, it changes the magnesium to ash. Burning a magnesium ribbon produces the white ash of magnesium oxide. Which of the following are chemical changes? Mixing water and milk, ironing clothes, mixing of acid and base, and toasting bread. Mixing water with milk. This is not chemical change as no new substance is formed. Ironing clothes. This is also not a chemical change. Mixing of acid and base. This is a chemical change as new substance salt is formed when acid and base are mixed. Toasting of bread. This is also a chemical change. On toasting the bread, the new chemical composition of a bread changes, forming a new substance, which we can see this as a crunchy part on toast. How do you decide if it is physical or chemical change? A physical change will not produce any new substance, whereas chemical change will. How do you decide if a physical change is physical or chemical? The curdling of milk is a chemical change. It produces cheese as a new substance. Freezing of milk is a physical change. It does not produce any new substance. So physical change will be not produce any new substance, and chemical change it will produce. Burning of wood is a chemical change. Chopping of wood is a physical change. When we burn a wood, we get an ash, and in chopping of wood, only shape or size of a wood is changed. Boiling corn and boiling water. Boiling corn is a chemical change as the corn gets cooked, and cooked corn chemically identify it's different from raw corn. It is a new substance. And boiling water is a physical change as the water is only converted into steam, no new substance is formed. Dyeing clothes and baking of cake. Dyeing clothes is a physical change as no new substance is formed, the cloth is only coated with dye. Baking of cake is a chemical change as the cake batter gets cooked, becoming a new substance with new chemical identity. So, summary. Changes that leads to the formation of new substance are chemical change. The new substance has new chemical identity or composition which is different from original substance that underwent a change. A physical change will not produce any new substance, whereas chemical change will produce some new substance. Physical change and chemical change. We learned about this both topic, and now let us solve some question based on this physical and chemical changes. So first question, explain why the formation of cloud is a physical change. Formation of cloud is a physical change because water from earth evaporates to form clouds. This water only changes its state from liquid to gas, no new substances form. When from sea or any river bodies, and in presence of sunlight rays falls on this and water gets evaporated. Now this is liquid form, and when it gets evaporated and form clouds, then evaporates means it is transformed into its gaseous state. So this is only a change in state, not any reaction. So this is physical change, not chemical change. Which of the following is an example of chemical change? Why? Add First is mixing salt and water, adding lemon to milk, and adding water to milk. If we mix salt and water, there is only physical change, no new substance is formed. Adding lemon to milk, it will form curd. So there is chemical change. So the answer is chemical change. Adding water to milk is only physical change. So adding lemon to milk is a chemical change as a lemon curdles the milk. A new substance, in this case cheese, is formed. Therefore there is a example of chemical change. Which of the following are true when we bake a cake? It changes from solid liquid to semi-solid. Its color changes, taste changes, and a change can be reversed. So options are A, B correct, B, C correct, A, B, D are correct, and all are correct. So the answers are all are correct. It was a liquid form and now it is transferred into, when we bake, it is transformed to semi-solid. Its color changes. It is somewhat, it will get dark. It change, taste changes, yes, and the change that can be reversed. We cannot reverse that. When the cake is baked, we can't get straight liquid form. So all the four options are correct. So in today's class, we have learned about the properties of components, decide the method of separation, and how to separate mixture with more than two components. Then we learned the physical properties and physical changes. Physical properties are characteristics like color, size, shape, hardness, weight, temperature, etc. In a physical change, the physical properties of a material does not change, but physical properties of material change and new substances not formed. Then we learned that in a chemical change, new substances are formed, and there are also other changes that sometimes accompany a chemical change. This There could be a release of heat, light, gas, or odor. This usually hints as a chemical change. So now here we are at the end of chemistry bridge course. In next lecture we will start biology bridge course. We completed physics and chemistry. Send me a homework. I am sending you a PDF. Write all the questions, each and every questions in your notebook. Please complete the homework and then send me. Otherwise, it is not considered. Many students are sending half homework to me, so they will be marked absent. So please complete the homework and then send it to me. Thank you. Have a good day.